Waits for you, O God, in all your world.
You hear our prayers, forgive our sins, and call us to dwell with you.
God of our hope, you are the life of the entire world.
Your faithfulness calls forth songs of joy. We from the ends of the earth.
We come from the ends of the earth. You form the mountains and still the roaring sea.
You calm the uproar of the nations.
You care for the land, bless it with water, and fill it with grain to feed the people.
Let all creation shout and sing for joy.
Amen.
If everyone like to stand up and sing the song with us. You can be amazing, you can turn a phrase into a weapon or a drug. You can be the outcast or be the backlash of somebody's lack of love. Or you can start speaking now. Nothing's gonna hurt you the way the words do, and they settle beneath your skin. Kept on the inside, no sunlight, sometimes a shower rains. I wonder what would happen if you say what you wanna say. Let the words fall out. Honestly, I wanna see you be brave. What you wanna say, let the words fall out. Honestly, I wanna see you be brave. Just wanna see you. I just wanna see you. Just wanna see you. I wanna see you be brave. Everybody's been there. Everybody's been stared down by your name. Falling for the fear and not disappearing. Bow down to the mighty. Don't run. Stop holding your time. Maybe there's a way out of the cage where you live. Maybe one of these days you can let the light in. Show me how big your brave is. Say what you wanna say. Let the words fall out. Honestly, I wanna see you be brave. What you wanna say. Let the words fall out. Honestly, I wanna see you be brave. Just wanna see you. I just wanna see you. I wanna see you. I wanna see you be brave. Just wanna see you. I just wanna see you. Just wanna see you. I wanna see you be brave. Woo! You guys sound great. Now I've heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do you? It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah. You say I took the name in vain, though I don't even know the name. But if I did, well, really, what's it to you? There's a blaze of light in every word. It doesn't matter which you heard, the holy or the broken. Hallelujah. 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 touch, I've told the truth, I didn't come to fool you. Even though all in all and wrong, I'll stand before the Lord song with nothing on my tongue but hallelujah, hallelujah,
This is an announcement from Claire. Before I forget, two things. Pastor Ted this morning is preaching at First Congregational UCC in Tempe this morning. The pastor there, Elizabeth Youngberg, fell, broke her ankle, hit her head, can't bear weight, has a concussion, so I sent Ted on her behalf. I hope that's okay with you. And secondly, the new board out there for your name tags, that was just finished by Ruben and Brenda, and it's amazing, isn't it? And they're going to make little cubbies in the bottom of it, so your name tag will be there, or we'll make you a new name tag if you're here for the first time. Thank you.
Well, normally this is where Fearless Welcome would sing, but today we are going to be singing at Music Mania. It's a festival of choirs. Our choir is going to be singing there, and Fearless Welcome is going to be performing there. So if you want to hear us sing today, you have to come to Sun City at 3 o'clock to hear us sing, and after the kids' time, we will be going back to practice all of our songs. We've got all our equipment in the next room. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so as I shared with you, we've had a couple weeks now talking about what are the fruits of the Spirit or gifts of the Spirit. So there's several scriptures up here, words of faith, Old and New Testament. And the Apostle Paul is writing to a number of churches in the Galatia area, which we would call Turkey today, and says to those congregations there and to us, by contrast, the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, generosity, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. An Old Testament prophet speaking words of comfort and hope to a people who had been exiled by God, walked away from God, and God is welcoming them back. God has told you, O mortal, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? But to do justice, and to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God. Anybody heard of the 23rd Psalm before? A few of you. I don't know if you've heard of the 22nd Psalm, but if you read that one, it's a person crying out to God, saying, how long, O Lord? How long am I going to have to suffer all of this? And then we hear these words of comfort and of hope. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. God makes me lie down in green pastures. God leads me beside still waters. God restores my soul. God leads me in right paths for God's name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I fear no evil. For you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord my whole life long. Timothy, a book written by Paul, maybe, to a disciple of his named Timothy, who was meeting with and working with congregations. And Timothy writes to the people, for God did not give us a spirit of cowardice, but rather a spirit of power and of love and of self-discipline. And now from the prophet Maya Angelou.
There's an African American song, 19th century, which is so great. It says, when it looked like the sun wasn't gonna shine anymore, God put a rainbow in the clouds. Imagine. And I've had so many rainbows in my clouds. I had a lot of clouds, but I have had so many rainbows. And one of the things I do when I step up on a stage, when I stand up to translate, when I go to teach my classes, when I go to direct a movie, I bring everyone who has ever been kind to me with me. Black, white, Asian, Spanish-speaking, Native American, gay, straight, everybody. I say, come with me. I'm going on the stage. Come with me, I need you now. Long dead, you see? So I don't ever feel I have no help. I've had rainbows in my clouds. And the thing to do, it seems to me, is to prepare yourself so that you can be a rainbow in somebody else's cloud. Somebody who may not look like you, may not call God the same name you call God, if they call God at all. You see? I may not eat the same dishes prepared the way you do, may not dance your dances, or speak your language, but be a blessing to somebody. That's what I think.
Just arrow down. The arrow down button. Okay, kids. Woohoo! Who wants to be a kid today? Andrew's thinking about it.
Look at our fancy kids over here. Awesome. Yeah, playing somewhere. So when Sam was in first grade, can you even think of Sam, big tall Sam, being in first grade? But I remember him being in first grade. One of his best friends in first grade always got into trouble a lot. He was not somebody who could sit still very much. He was somebody that maybe if the teacher was looking around seeing who is on task, who is doing their work, he might be off standing on a table to see if he could reach something up high on a high shelf. Then about a month into the school year, another little boy came to class. He was new to class. There was something different about this little boy. If all the other first graders were this size, this boy was about this size. He was so much taller, he looked like he was past third grade, and he wasn't just tall and skinny. He was wide enough for his height, so he really looked like he was already a very big boy. Now this boy was so sweet and so shy, but all the other first graders were afraid of him because he was so big. They thought because he was big, maybe he was mean. Maybe he wasn't someone they could play with. So who do you think was the person that went down and sat by this big, scary new first grader? Who do you think? It wasn't Sam. It was Sam's friend that got in trouble all the time. Sam's friend who got in trouble all the time had a lot of clouds because his acting out all over the place didn't come from badness, it came from how his body was made. And he always got in trouble for how his body and his mind was made. So he could see, that was his rainbow. He could see that this other boy was getting picked on for how his body was made. And in the sweetness in his heart, he went over and he sat down by the great big giant first grader. And you know what? Then he said, Sam, come on over and sit down by this great big giant first grader. And those three are still friends today. Now we're going to go back and we are going to practice.
From kindergarten. He lives in Virginia Beach. Troublemaker.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So like at 9 o'clock, it was dark, so it was a lot better than like, this light shining on you. Okay, good, that will, or you can just close your eyes there.
Turn the lights off. Wait.
No, it's okay, okay.
That's creative.
Okay, so at 5 to 9, I'm texting Kim, are you coming? Are you going to be here? You really going to come? And I found out later that she had given her phone to somebody else.
To you. Right, because it's the kind of thing to do. However, they were supposed to make sure that I was up at 7:30 in case my alarm didn't go off, and that never happened, but I did make it on time. So I had a bunch of stuff wrote down, and I had to rethink everything, so I was trying to talk about things like mistaking kindness for weakness and unconditional love and quitting on people in your life, or not even in your life, or people that you agree with or not. And then we go to I went to the meeting on Monday. Is anybody gone on Monday, the 1:30 worship group? Okay, well, everybody has to go because it is really a great experience. And on the flip side of that, because I went there, it kind of blew my whole concept of the way I thought about kindness and weakness and unconditional love. So I'm still kind of going through a transition. So just a few weeks ago, I finally filed for divorce and was with the person, the kid's dad, 18 years, but married 13. And so I've been going through issues of feeling guilty because I kind of feel like I quit on him. Like I quit, regardless of what anybody did or what anybody says, or, I just felt like there should be that unconditional love and you don't quit on people. When I was 12, my mom quit on me, so, I just felt like, that I'm so adamant about you don't quit on anybody. Come HE2 picks or not, you just don't do it. And so I'm going through guilt. But on the flip side, how it all transpired was about 3 months ago, my daughter Emily was trying to throw a fit. She's a teenager, and I'm not the quietest person, and for me to be quiet is pretty difficult. I'm getting better at it, kind of. I'm working on that. So anyway, she goes in her room, of course. I always tell my children, the only thing that I really can 100% say that I have is that I'll never, ever, 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 quit on you. And, that's something that I can know that I at least can bring that to the plate. And so she's, being loud or whatever and telling me, just be quiet, because I foam at the mouth. And so I sat there. She closed her door and I sat there for like about 18 minutes, but it felt like, forever. And it would have been easier for me to just cut off my arm than to sit there and be quiet. And so when she opened the door and I seen her face, like a lot of things happened in my world. Like I realized that, no, I don't want to be like my mother, and that, so I just realized a lot of things. And then going to this group on Monday, I went to the worship, and I was real set in my thinking, and I knew where I was and what kind of person I am, and then they bring up all this stuff about, I'm thinking you have to be godlike, and we're supposed to be kind, we're supposed to do the right thing, and we all know when we're doing something wrong, we don't have to ask anybody, because, at least that's what I think. I hope everybody's like the same. You know in your heart, whether you admit it or not, if you're doing something wrong. So it kind of blew my whole concept of that belief away, because I thought, well, my God is, a caring, loving God. But then, of course, Pastor Nancy, all these beautiful women, brought up, but he threw people out of the temple. He stood up for justice, and so I was just like, whoa. So then it brought me into the whole unconditional love thing and that line. Where is that fine line when it's okay to quit on somebody? And it is now, it's like I'm still going through, is it quitting on somebody? Is it self-survival we talked about? Self-perseverance? Either way, I still feel like I'm quitting on somebody, but I had to do, for my children, I had to do what I had to do. And quite frankly, if it was me, I probably would still be there. So, and then I was like, I wrote this whole thing, and I was late but I made it 2 minutes before 9. I borrowed my phone to my neighbor because of kindness, because anyway, he doesn't have a phone, and so I didn't have it, and then I had my verses in the phone, and anyway, so I was all bent out of shape, and I didn't use the paper, and my daughter Brooke says to me, she's like, Mom, just go up there and talk, you know how you are. She's like, they'll accept you, they have the unconditional love, and I was like, wow, so that kind of made me feel a lot better, it's sometimes embarrassing that my daughters have to remind me of stuff, being a child, and so in my life, I still believe that we should be kind, because, God is kind, and we are supposed to be forgiving, and I believe that there should be a line, and is it people pleasing, or is it genuine concern, or is it some of all of it, I'm not sure, but I do know everybody needs to go to that one time, at least try and make that Monday meeting, because it's really a good group of people just sharing. Definitely feel comfortable, and it will shape your world of thought, though, make you rethink things. But I guess my question to everybody is, where is your line? Where is your line when unconditional love comes? So something I've learned growing up on my own is, one thing I finally figured out, we have to save ourselves. That's one thing I figured out, and pray hard, and you can't wait for someone to save you, you have to do it yourself. So anyway, I'm still trying to find that line, because I do believe that we, what if there wasn't people like all of us here, what if there was no kind people, or people who held grudges, or angry people? I don't know, it would be really bad. Then I thought about, kindness. Then after I was like, mistaking kindness for weakness, but I'm thinking about, I'm like, wait a minute, to be kind is not, you're not really weak, because you put yourself out there, you can be rejected, you can be, just be judged, but which, I figured everybody's going to judge you anyway, so you have to do what's right in your heart. And I'm still looking for that line, and I'm praying hard that, but since Monday, my guilt for filing the divorce has diminished a little bit, which brings me back to, we have to save ourselves. And maybe I might not be there right now, but I know for sure that I have to save my children. And if I jump on board with them, then as long as we all get to the end of the rainbow, that's where I'm at. So, yeah, I think I'm going to continue to be the way I am, because I have to put my head down on the pillow, and I believe that God does everything for a reason, and I just that fine line, when is enough, and I do believe that we should never ever quit on people. I just still believe that for some reason, and so I left the door open with my marriage thing, and What am I gonna do with it? I don't know, but I'm gonna pray. And I don't know, anybody got any ideas where your line is? Where's your line? And I know that everybody's line is different. I get that, the tolerance level, you know. Some people can take more than other people. Is it because of our self-esteem? Is it, I don't know. After that meeting, it's like everything just kind of still transitioned, you know. But I do know that we should still be kind. I believe that. I believe, and I'm grateful for everybody here because I probably wouldn't be where I'm at today had I not found this group of people. Because it's very uncomfortable to be yourself sometimes, especially when you're a different kind of character, but then we're all different kind of characters. So I fit right in, you know, because I was like, well, you know, it's like the church for the 3,000 and everybody's just, you know, not weird because I'm going to say unique, you know, we use the word unique. And so I'm comfortable here because, you know, like Brooke said, you know, so I'm glad to be here and I'm grateful for everyone. And I do believe we should still be kind, but I do believe we should find the line for the right reason, you know, not to quit on somebody because you're angry or because somebody owes you something or you think, because nobody really owes you anything. And if you do something from the kindness of your heart, you're not, and you don't expect anything back because you're doing it because you want to, how can you get hurt? How could that be wrong? You know, how could it be wrong? And that's where I'm at with that whole thing about unconditional love, and, you know, but I have grown because now I can honestly say my mother had done me a favor because she taught me one of the most important things in my life is that you don't quit on people that don't deserve to be quit on, because nobody deserves to be quit on. And I know in my life I will never ever, if someone ever comes up to me, even if they were evil and they did something wrong, I would still try to find a way to be kind and help them, because you never know when that one person is just looking for one person to say, hey, you're okay, man, you got something to bring to the plate, and everybody has something to bring to the plate. But I need to find the line.
May God bless and keep you always. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for us
faith, we come together, we share our joys, concerns, we lift one another up, we reach out a lifeline to people who need a lifeline. This is Moina Shaikh, the woman who's coming Tuesday night to speak at our Meet a Muslim event, and I hope you'll come and listen, be in conversation with her. She's in Arizona, she's traveling around, meeting with other faith communities, and I think it'll be a wonderful evening for us together.
What time?
6:30 on Tuesday night. These are prayer concerns from this week and last week. Kathy Denny, Hal and Mary. So grateful for Kim coming and sharing her story with us. Our farmer's barn moved across the street.
I saw that.
Lisa Powell, bless her heart, just kind of put a word out there. Anybody want to move a barn for free? And this church group came and moved it. And so there's no farmer's market today, but they're going to set it up. And it was originally built and intended to put farmer's market tables, chairs, all that in there. So they're going to set that up and make their life easier as a farmer's market. So thank you for that. Continue to keep David and its uncle in hospice care, him and his family. Angie and Stephen's mom Anna, we continue to keep them in our prayers. We're continuing our Sober Living House explorations and preparations for that. I'll say a little bit more about that in the announcements, but I'm always reminded by the lives we are touching and continue to touch when we reach out to people, families dealing with addictions. Keep Brenda in our prayers. She continues to recover. Amy Karansky tests, and she and Amy Marianne will be here one more week. CJ Hengler, who and his mother Brenda, who's often out at our welcome table, was in a motorcycle accident yesterday between here and Tucson. We got the initial word, and they actually life-flighted him, but we got a call later in the day from his friend that he has a concussion and some scrapes and bruises, but he's okay. And I think Ted actually talked to him. His mother said, well, he's a little goofy right now. But if you know CJ, you know he wears a big helmet and all the gear, and his mother hates motorcycles. So keep them in our prayers, and hopefully he's on his way to recovery. Other joys or concerns that you would share, that you bring with you today?
I just really appreciate Kim. I think she has added a special something to our church ever since she first arrived with Joey and her two girls. You know, those two girls volunteer for helping on Wednesday with the tutoring the Burmese kids. Those two girls are there literally every weekend.
We've dropped the ball just recently, but we're back.
You're down. You know, I know Claire's children get brought along by mom, but they have a special something, I think. You don't sometimes to put on someone like filing for divorce is the way to save the person.
Many of you have heard me sing out here. A year ago, I had absolutely no voice. I discovered that I had a diagnosis of muscle tension dystonia, which was brought on by stress. Thankfully not illness or injury, otherwise it would be more permanent. And I have gone through major transformations thanks to Nancy and Pastor Nancy and Pastor Ted. And many of you here have also helped me on my journey. So this is a celebration for me that I can sing and share my voice with you all.
Yeah.
All right.
Even if you're like Kim and just hold on to it for a second.
It might be a little bit.
Yes, you can. I'm Leslie, I'm new here. I don't know if I can finish what I want to say. The lady who talked, Kim, is too freaky. I mean, and I know it's because of God, but you talked about exactly what I've got going granddaughter, and who I love dearly. And this is just cool because Lisa mentioned that all kinds of people come here, and they're not welcome everywhere. I mean, it's amazing how many churches, they're just freaks about it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's very, very sad to me. So I just like the fact that everybody honestly is welcome here. And I just want you to know, you were nervous and kind of hard for you to talk, and you totally,
Thank you.
yeah, I mean, I just totally got it, what you were talking about, which is why I'm crying, so.
Monday, 1:30, Monday, 1:30. Be here.
I thought about that, I did.
It's awesome,
Thank you so
be
much.
here.
Other person? Yes.
I'm glad you're here.
So it's, I think, Movement of God. Yesterday, my son and I were fundraising in front of Fry's at Camelback, and as we sat up, two teenagers were sitting there, and they graciously let us set up our area to raise money for the Phoenix Children's Chorus. And I ended up talking to them, and they are homeless teenagers who, one lived in 80 group homes, and he's only a sophomore, and his dream is to be a firefighter, and he's trying to get into Franklin High. And the other teen, also foster, came from Mexico, and those two teens are the first who I needed to meet to start my nonprofit, to reach out to group homes and teach them how to garden. And I got to ask them if that would work, and they were philosophers and they loved the idea. So if I hadn't had the time to go out there and raise money with my son, I would never have met them. And I got their emails, and they still have so much hope. I mean, the one showed me burn and stab marks from their pasts and their birth families and the horrors that are unspeakable. There are thousands of homeless teens that I want to reach out to. And I've been working on the nonprofit, but I needed to meet them. So it was just such a serendipitous moment, and I'm so glad. And just to have that spark to keep me going. So it was a great moment. And then I gave them 2 sodas, so that was pretty awesome.
Others? Let's take a breath and then let it out.
Oh, come on, let it out.
The breath of God surrounds us. Let's spend a quiet moment. Breath of God, breath of life. As close as every breath you are, and as distant as that furthest star. Open our hearts and minds and spirit to you, to all your people, to the hurts and hopes of the world, in the lives of those we can name and those that we don't know their name. You promise us your Spirit to be with us, and so help us to be your hands and feet and heart and mind and spirit in a world that often is too cruel. We know that in every generation you, O God, call forth prophets to proclaim your word. We give you thanks that you are still speaking even today. Your Spirit inspires the young to see visions of a new creation, and elders to dream a dream of a time not yet known. Next slide. Susan. Thank you. Yet we confess we fail to hear your voice when it comes from an unexpected place. Convinced that we are right, we miss the good news of your reconciling love. Forgive us, God. Restore us with humility and awaken us anew to your presence and your promise. Amen. In response to God's goodness and coming together as a community of faith that ministers here and literally beyond these doors, in response to the promise of abundant life, God calls us to share our resources with those in need. In that spirit of generosity, let us offer our gifts, our offerings, and our tithes. Together. Loving God, we give thanks for the visions and dreams that you share with your people. We offer these gifts in response to your abundant blessings and ask that you use them and the commitment they represent to share your good news with all the world. Amen. Welcome to Cotizo. We're glad you're here today. If you're here for the first time, we have a gift for you. These are some of the things that happen almost weekly in the life of our church together. The choir is going to practice afterwards. And then like Claire said, they're going to be going to Sun City to sing in a Southwest Conference Other Choirs event if you want to be there at 3 o'clock at United Church of Sun City. Worship team meets here 1:30. Everybody's invited. Monday Night Football, Ted hosts at our house. Naranan is a group that meets here every Monday night for families and friends of those who are struggling with addictions. Steve has asked for a ride. He needs to go down to like City Hall tomorrow morning, and if somebody can help him with that, you can connect with him. Perfect. Men's breakfast. Moina's speaking tomorrow night. Tuesday night, I'm sorry. I hope you'll be a part of that. She literally started out this with sitting down in a coffee shop and saying, meet a Muslim. People, a lot of misunderstandings, and she just wanted to build bridges to people. And literally, she's made that her life work of doing that, so I'm really looking forward to meeting her. Refugee tutoring. Our board of directors meets Wednesday night at 6:30. That's an open meeting. Theology on Tap, they're reading together a book, A Day with a Complete Stranger. Perfect Stranger? Perfect Stranger.
He's complete.
Perfect, complete. The Gathering Arizona's and Neighborhood Picnic is going to be at Cortez Park October 29th. Well, Cotizo will have a booth there if somebody wants to be with Brenda and myself. Just meet people and tell them about a wonderful place called Cotizo. We've been working toward opening a women's sober living house. Just a quick update about that. I think we've got our documents all in order. We should have those for the board of directors on Wednesday. A couple of us went to the Arizona Recovery Housing Association, ASRA, and learned a lot of things. And then afterward, we connected with 3 or 4 or 5 people who run, live, do sober living houses. So we made some really good connections as we take the next steps toward hiring staff for that and then getting a house. Through Lisa, we also are helping to clean out a woman's house. So we've got tons of stuff. But we'll be asking, to furnish that house. But so we're making progress and we'll kind of keep you posted. If you have a newsletter article for the next month, November newsletter, please get those to me. Becky has show and tell. Do you have show and tell?
Well, it's in the back.
Okay.
So back on that table right there, it started out as just a big piece of white
Max, can you
paper.
hold that up? Sure. A couple years ago, we commissioned an artist from California, and she brought this thing called prayerful paper cutting into our lives. And I found one in my house. It's the nativity scene. And this thing is like huge. This is just baby Jesus, laying in the manger. There you go, there you go. And so you just like, it's like, it's like paint by number. Even people with me like no artistic talent.
Yes, Nancy showed it to me last Sunday.
Nancy showed it to me last Sunday, and she said, I have the X-Acto knife and everything. And she said, just get a piece of cardboard or something. And so I got home and I thought, oh, I know I'm smarter than Pastor Nancy is. I'm going to get a pair of scissors. Because I think I can do that with scissors. Well, I'm not smarter than Pastor Nancy. So I finally opened the X-Acto knife, and I had, if anybody has Cox Communications, you know that they have been giving out those little boxes you have to put into your TVs that don't have, I hate that. Anyway, inside of there was this piece of about a 12 by 12 piece of cardboard, and I just sat in my big chair with the TV going, and I just X-Acto knifed. It was just like this, oh my God, it felt so good to do it. And then I thought, okay, I'm gonna stop and do it another day. And then I'll just do 2 more. And then oh my God, then I'll just do 2 more. And I finished the whole thing in one sitting, and it was just like exhilarating. So give it a try.
We took a vote at the first service. How many people think we should move the tables into the back of the room and have it available here? Like if you want to do it during this sermon, you can do cutting, finger cutting.
It's like Lay's potato chips.
So we may do that. It's laid out now in the middle building if you want to go look at it. We hope to have it done by Thanksgiving, so we got a lot of cutting to do. So
I forgot to bring the X-Acto knife.
I've got lunch, okay. Can you name a gift of the Spirit you believe you have and utilize? Is there a gift of the Spirit you'd like to have? Having heard, and some of you have already reflected on kind of what Kim shared, now that you kind of have absorbed it, is there any other reflecting or sharing that you would like to do?
I just had a week of all weeks. A girlfriend of mine invited me to go see Michelle Obama. I don't know what day that was.
Thursday.
Thursday. Thursday.
Who's heaven?
Yeah, and so somehow Pastor Nancy, she must like get into my emails, and she goes, I want to go. And then the next thing is, I want Ted to go. So the 4 of us met at my friend's house, and
I sound like that.
No, I'm just teasing you. It's because you're so perfect, I have to find some little thing to pick on. So we met at Ellen's house in the Willow District and walked to the light rail, and this was like just a street down and dirty kind of thing, and they said, well, let's meet at 10:30, and she's talking at 2:30, and you know me, I'm late for everything, and I went, isn't that just a tad early? She goes, no, we have to get there. So we set off, and there were thousands of people. You probably all saw it on the news, but it was my very first political rally, and the woman is just amazing. All the speakers were, but it was just a wonderful experience for me, and I just wanted to share with you. It's a great day.
Envious.
And one thing that Michelle said that I thought when Kim was speaking was, don't let people take your hope away. Don't let people take your hope away. Those Obamas are kind of big on that audacity of hope thing, but don't let people take your hope away.
And I was there too, and I loved how she said at the end, be encouraged. She used that word, be encouraged. And she reminded everybody that the other person running had called her birthplace where she grew up H-E-double-L-L. And
A hellhole.
you know?
That's good.
And but she just stayed so positive. And a wonderful moment was when they go low and the whole crowd did unison. It was magic. That moment.
There was a lot of loving people in that room. I mean, it was just filled.
Yeah, there was no
Instead of
Positive
hate,
energy.
just really
Yeah.
good energy, and that energy's out there. And how do we keep that in front of us instead of all the other chaos that people create? Other thoughts, things you'll take home with you today, maybe?
Thank you.
I wanted to say one thing. This seemed to be, I don't know
so let's bless ourselves and others as we go out. Bless ourselves. Share with me. Go into the world, renewed in hope and restored by God's vision. Go into the world to share God's grace and mercy. Go into the world and proclaim the good news of what God has done for you. To that end, may the blessings of God be with you this day and forevermore. Amen.